Severin Darkheart tosses in his bed. He dreams of that moment several years ago when he accepted the terrible fact that his father would never return home. He had screamed to his mother and his younger brother this bitter truth, that father's ship had been lost at sea. He thought his family was going to tear themselves to shreds. If father died, they all died. Clack! A stone strikes his window shutters, awakening him. Severin sits up, opens the shutters, and dodges another stone flying straight at him. Daga is below, in the alleyway. "I'm coming down," Severin calls to him. The two companions greet each other with slaps on the shoulder. "Good thing you're such a night owl. I might have slept until tomorrow morning." Daga furrows his brow. "You are dreaming of your father again." "Not just my father. The shipwreck I have for a mother, and the loose barrel I have for a brother." "Yet you're so hell-bent on helping them off this island." "I am. And myself. And you." "How are you so sure the life will be so much better on the mainland?" "It has to be. Why else would it be so damn hard to get there?" The human and the half-orc take to walking down the wharf. Their destination is Rorik's Aldarian Tavern. Severin had learned that a man is going to be selling stolen letters of transit that grant entrance into the city-state of Alderia on the mainland. If he can obtain these letters, he can move his family and Daga and give them a better life. His younger brother will be able to attend the arcane college instead of ambling on into idiocy and madness. His mother's health will improve, given a fresh, new start, away from the place that only reminds her of suffering. And he and his friend will finally get away from this port town that operates under the stranglehold of crime bosses. As they walk, Daga says, "And what do you plan to do if Zantar is there? Or worse, what if you get the bloody letters, then Zantar and his thugs come down on you?" Zantar is the newest crime boss in the Wayward Islands. He is an egomaniacal person, said to wield magic that can incinerate a man. His ideas have been stirring a great deal of controversy as of late. Severin replies, "I had initially thought of disguising us as elves, but I couldn't find a pair of ears in your size." "I hate elves," grumbles Daga, "almost as much as I hate wizards. And they say Zantar's a wizard. And if he doesn't like you, he'll burn you to ashes." "Burn me to ashes? Is that all? I had heard that he also has a pet demonic eel that eats people's still-beating hearts. Certainly I deserve a good heart-eating more than a simple incineration." Daga stops and scowls at his rakish comrade. "What? You like eels? I've seen you eat 1,000 of them." "Demonic?" "Ah, right." Daga had never met his parents. He had been raised in an orcish temple that worshipped demons. The orc priests had prized Daga for his keen mind, which is merely average by human standards, but quite bright amongst orcs. His past was a darker and touchier subject, even than Severin's. "Well, let's stay optimistic. You could make Zantar scorch his own pet eel, then eat it in front of him." Daga frowns, but Severin knows it is actually a smile. "You're the fucking craziest person on this island." The two companions pass by docks with merchant cogs, where Severin had inquired into work and rumors a couple days ago. Then they see a galley whose crew is carousing on deck. After that, there is a series of the typical fishing boats. When they cross paths with a carter, he gives them a wide berth, wary of 2 armed men in the night. They arrive at the tavern, hearing the sound of lively music far before they reach the entrance. Within, they find the place filled with patrons of every sort. Some are locals, others are sailors and merchants passing through. The 2 allies order cups of beer, then start looking for the fence. Severin knows this man is going to be posing as a jewelry merchant. He tries to be inconspicuous when asking for him. Someone tells Severin the only jewelry merchant there is an elf woman. He decides to try his luck inquiring with her. This woman has a central table in the main hall. She is accompanied by a brutish man with scars and a fine-looking fellow with a feathered hat. Up close, she is ugly, with gaudy hair and heavy makeup and perfume. Necklaces and earrings droop from her, and rings and bracelets bedeck her hands. She is a walking rack of jewelry. Severin greets the elf. "Good evening. Pardon my interruption. I couldn't help but notice what a spectacular collection of jewelry you're wearing. Let me guess. You're from Sundown Glen."
"Why, you are so kind, and a smart one at that. I was born in Sundown Glen."
"I merely speak the truth. Even a blind man would be stunned by your radiance. Are each of you 3 jewelry dealers?" Severin hopes one of the other 2 might be the man he seeks. The scarred brute gives a grunting laugh. "No, I just break the arms of thieves." The dandy in the feathered hat gives a mocking and incredulous look to Severin, then to the woman.
I am the only one. These 2 gentlemen keep away unsavory company, but we haven't run into any troubles at all."
Severin and Daga both pick up on some odd details about this elf woman. Her voice seems a little forced. Her hands and shoulders seem a little large for a female. And under her many necklaces, does her throat have an apple? Why, she is no woman at all. Hope flickers in Severin's heart. "Good lady, I'm seeking something special, a gift of sorts. Could it be that you have just such a unique item for sale?"
"I have many fine pieces. I'm sure you can find just what you're looking for."
Having said that, the man in woman's garb changes his voice. "I know what you seek, but we must proceed carefully." "Of course," Severin agrees in a hushed voice. "My name is John. What are yours?" "I'm Severin." Daga only scowls. "If we cannot trust one another, there will be no deal." "His name is Daga." "Is that the truth?" Daga nods. "Yeah, it's the bloody truth." "I didn't expect there to be so many watchful eyes here tonight. Someone must have leaked word that I would be here. That's the reason for my disguise. In fact, these were the last pair of elf ears I could find in my size." "Oh, so you were the one who bought them." "No, I have some business to attend to. Meet me here later, after the last wharf bell. I'll be in the back room, near the dicing table, disguised as a servant cleaning." Severin says, "Very well, John. I need 4. 4? That is going to cost you 1,200 gold pieces.
I only have 1,000. It is everything we've accumulated over these past few years. Please, this is of tremendous importance. Not just for myself, but for my family. They are slowly dying in this place.
Severin does all he can to haggle the price with Jorn. Then consider our deal closed at 1,000 gold pieces. I shall see you soon, Severin Darkheart. Jorn, in the outrageous guise of the female jewelry dealer, takes his leave, alongside his brute and his dandy.
Wait a moment,
Severin says to Daga.
How is it that he knew my family name?
I don't trust a single damn person in this place.
Oh, no you don't, shouts a man in the doorway.
I know that voice.
Severin looks towards the entrance.
Zantar. Is he stopping Jorn?
He, along with several other tavern goers, move to get a better view of what's happening. Zantar is just outside the doorway. He is a stocky man with thick dreadlocks and an eye patch on the right side of his face. He is with 3 of his men, halting a tavern patron who is trying to exit. Severin sighs in relief when he sees it is not Jorn.
What do you want, Zantar? I'm only going home.
The man tries to move away, but one of the thugs grabs his coat.
I received word that someone has stolen 2 more letters of transit from an emissary of Alderia. Some are saying that you are the thief. That ain't true. I don't know anything about no letters. And you're still indebted to me. How much? 300 gold pieces. My patience has run out. I'm close to landing a new job. I'll have the money soon to you. You had better come with me.
The man slouches sullenly and seems to comply. The group starts to move, and just as the thug loosens his grip for an instant, the man bolts free, running desperately away. Zantar takes in hand an orb, points it towards the man, and shouts an arcane phrase. The music in the tavern stops. Rays of blazing fire shoot into the fleeing man. He shrieks and falls to the ground. Zantar glares and sends another volley of flames, then another. Soon, the man is nothing more than a scorch mark charred into the road stones. Zantar then strolls into the tavern. Rorik, the Aldarian tavern keep, orders the minstrels resume their playing. Pardon the disruption, everyone. Return to your enjoyments. All is well now. He then begins walking with Zantar toward the stairs that lead to the upper chambers. Severin turns away and whispers to Daga. Come on. He owes 500 gold pieces to Zantar, which is half of everything the pair has. The 2 companions stand and mix into the crowd of gawkers who are shuffling back to their own tables. They take the opportunity to slip into a different section of the establishment. This room is dim, lit only by a few candles, and filled with a haze of smoke. They decline the offers to purchase draws from an assortment of pipes here. The 2 bide their time, drinking beer and conversing. Out of the dusky corners of this area come harlots and drug peddlers, but Severin and Daga refuse them all. Then, as though from a puff of smoke, a man in a turban appears. His name is Farouk, a smuggler who Severin had worked with on a number of occasions.
Severin, the gods have sent you here to me in my darkest hour. I am in great pain, my friend.
His shaking hands pat Severin's shoulder. Sweat is beading his skin, and his eyes look as though he has not slept in days. Farouk, I haven't seen you in some time. I wondered what happened to you. Tell me. Farouk pulls at his mustache. He grinds his teeth as though in agony.
I know the pet Zantar keeps. It is a terrible, terrible thing. He summoned me into his private chambers about the problem I had with the last shipment. The Alderian Marine Guard seized my ship, confiscated the cargo, and even slew a few of my men. I managed to flee back here to the Wayward Islands. Zantar was beyond furious.
I had no idea you were even making that run to Alderia. Their security is known to be a perilous lot to cross. Severin stares in bewilderment at the suffering man before him. But what ails you? Speak, friend.
I feared Zantar would burn me alive, but no. His pet, he introduced it.
Farouk grips his torso and buckles in pain for a moment.
There are places beyond the mortal world, places where perverse minds twist the fabric of nature, where chaos is God. Zantar spoke to me of this, and he showed me in part. He spoke of a strange folk who live in this ever-changing limbo. The Sladi, grotesque and monstrous they are, toad-like, plague-like, fighting one another, yet always struggling to spread elsewhere. And their young... He had one of their young as his own pet.
Daga can take no more. He grabs Farouk by the shoulders and shakes.
Take hold of yourself, man!
He introduced it. It is with me now.
What is that?
Daga recoils as Farouk falls to his knees, convulsing. Ripping out from within his chest comes a slimy and gore-coated creature. Perhaps an eel, perhaps an oversized pollywog. It has a golden tint to its skin, as seen by the candle light. It swallows a chunk of Farouk's heart, bursts free, and slithers off into the shadows. Farouk falls to the ground, limbs twitching and blood spurting from the gash in his torso. A whore screams. This draws the attention of the others there, who gasp at the sight. A drunken man vomits. A gaunt pipe smoker faints, and several other patrons turn and stare.
Murderers!
Shouts a woman wearing a blue hooded cloak.
They must have stabbed him through the heart!
Severin realizes all that just happened was no phantasm brought on by the strange smokes of that dark room. He comes to his senses and begins to explain the truth of the occurrence.
Ask her as well.
Severin points toward the whore who had screamed after seeing the slimy thing burst from Farouk's chest.
I saw it! Some kind of snake ate that man's heart and popped right out of his chest!
In a panic, all come pouring out of the dim room, like rats, scurrying and squeaking, fleeing in fear of the strange thing that might still be in the room. This disrupts the merriment of those more refined patrons in the main hall, who had already settled back down after the altercation with Zantar and the debtor a short while ago. In this moment of confusion, Severin and Daga move to the backmost chamber, which is a gambling den. There are a few tables with groups playing the card game Court. Another table features two old bearded men puzzling over their next moves in a strategy game known as xadrez, while a captive bunch of onlookers whisper predictions of the outcome. The final table is the largest and the loudest, where dice are rolling and stacks of coins are in a constant state of flux. Near the house dealer is a dwarf guard whose face is concealed under a mask helm. The two friends squeeze into the last bit of an opening at the dicing table. Between swigs of beer, they speak of the gruesome and terrifying fate of their friend Farouk. Daga gulps the last of his third cup of beer.
I would rather try smuggling myself into Alderia and get killed by the Marine Guard.
We absolutely, unquestionably must get out of the Wayward Islands. Severin throws back the last of his own drink. The owner of the tavern, Rorik, makes an appearance and apologizes for yet another disruption. However, no one in the gambling room seems to have a clue that a man just died because a tadpole from another plane burst out of his chest. A woman, young and beautiful, then appears behind Rorik and begins demanding his attention. He seems somewhat bothered by her showing up. Severin and Daga strain to hear over the noise of people gambling. The girl seems insistent and somewhat angry, but it is impossible to make out what she and Rorik are saying. Their exchange is short, and they go together toward the staircase to the upper rooms. Then there comes a sound that the pair do hear above the racket, the last wharf bell ringing. At this, some of the patrons get up and make ready to leave, as they know the final round of the town watch will conclude soon. Others remain, too wrapped up in their games to care that they will either be paying for expensive coachmen to take them safely home, or walking the dark and dangerous streets of the late night.
Look, the cleaning servant,
observes Severin as he sees the man enter the room. He wears a cap and thick clothes and carries a broom and a small handcart. They let him sweep away some of the mess left on the floor by careless patrons. Then they get up. As they near him, he speaks.
Pardon me, good patrons. Does this drink belong to either of you?
It surely does not, though you are a courteous fellow for asking. Severin lowers his voice.
Are you ready?
The servant, Jorn in disguise, replies,
I am. Follow me.
The three exit the gambling room, Jorn still carrying the broom. He begins ascending the stairs.
Wait, where are we going?
Asks Severin.
Do you think I would be so foolish as to keep the letters of transit on me? Rorik is safeguarding them. Rorik? But isn't he friends with Zantar? Rorik is friends with everyone, and no one. The only person he is truly loyal to is himself. But Zantar is up there. Now? Jorn pauses. Are you sure? I believe so.
Daga puts a hand on the hilt of his sword.
If you're leading us into a trap, I'm going to kill you first.
Jorn eyes the half-orc nervously.
I set no trap, and I have no reason to believe Rorik would betray me. We can't stay here on the landing. Let's go.
Severin feels his heart pounding. He takes a couple steps up. He looks back and sees Daga scowl.
2 men have already died tonight. If we die too, at least we'll have company on the way to hell. You can go to hell. I've already been there.
Upstairs, there is a large landing where Zantar's men are drinking and chattering in loud voices. Jorn leads the pair to a door which he opens as he raps on it. "Rorik, are you in here?" The room is a medium-sized chamber made of marble. Amongst the trappings are a table with decanters, a woolen couch, and a desk strewn with various documents. Rorik stands from the desk. He is a middle-aged man with dark hair and fine clothes. "Good evening, gentlemen. Can I help you with something?" Severin notices 2 other doors in the room. On the other side of one, he can hear Zantar arguing with a woman. "I've come for the letters, all 4 of them." "I wondered when you'd be back for those. Let me get them for you." Rorik unlocks the other door and steps into the room beyond. Severin hears Zantar curse at the woman and break something made of glass. She shouts back, and there is a sound of another glass breaking. A moment later, Rorik returns holding 4 pieces of embellished parchment, each bearing the seal of the Archon of Alderia. Jorn receives the letters of transit, then turns to Severin. "The money?" Severin and Daga both produce 2 purses, each containing 250 gold pieces. Jorn opens the purses and looks at the coins within. He gives one of the 4 purses to Rorik. "Have this. Really, I should give you all of them, but I doubt you'd accept." At the moment that Jorn hands the letters to Severin, the woman in the other room yells her final insult, throws open the door, and starts storming out. Zantar comes to the doorway, drunken and shouting for her to never come back. His one eye peers from between his ropes of dreadlocked hair and sees the exchange taking place.
What is this?
He frowns, then glares at Jorn.
You were the one who stole the letters of transit. And you, Rorik, you're the thief's patron, just as dirty as he is.
Zantar takes his orb in hand, gripping it around with all his fingers. As he points it at Rorik, he finds that the tavern keep is pointing a hand crossbow back at him. Rorik's face is calm as a statue. You know what kind of poison I have on this, and I bet I can pull my trigger faster than you can chant a spell.
Do it. My men will skin you alive, you son of a bitch.
Rorik does not flinch. Don't act so surprised. I'm on my side, no one else's. He orders everyone to freeze and cautiously moves out of the room to the landing. Severin hears Rorik shouting for Zantar's men to get out of his tavern. There comes the sound of boots descending the stairs, and the music down in the main hall grows even louder. Zantar's wild eye scans over the rogue and the half-orc. Jorn glances at the furniture, as though looking for cover. Severin carefully moves his hands to his concealed daggers, and Daga shouts and charges the wizard. Just as Daga is drawing his sword and beginning his rush, the slimy little slod springs from its hiding place near its master. It bites ineffectively against the steel scales of Daga's armor. He screams in surprise and horror. In his mind flash images of demonic rituals from his youth at the Orcish temple. Hatred rushes into his blood. The half-orc warrior slices off the grotesque thing's tail. Die, eel! He continues his fury, straight towards the one-eyed wizard. Zantar maintains his grip on his orb. He lets out a cackle and starts to chant a spell. Before completing more than a syllable, the rogue is upon him. Severin's dagger stabs true, but it deflects on a glimmering shield of force. Severin cuts the wizard with one of his daggers, but the wound is light. Zantar finally is able to chant fully his spell. From his orb comes a spout of fire. The two allies evade the worst of the flames. Daga retaliates with his greatsword. The thief strikes again with his twin daggers. The wizard once more throws up a mystic shield to block the blade. Zantar seizes the perfect instant and darts back into the room where he had been. He slams the door shut and turns the key to lock it. Daga roars and throws his weight against the door. The half-orc smashes the door open. Severin wastes no time and goes tumbling into the room for an attack. The table partially blocks his attack. Zantar suffers another cut. His bleeding worsens. He then tries to move around the table. The wizard again repels the attack, using cover from the table and his arcane shield. Having repositioned, he leaps up onto the table, howling like a madman, and points his orb towards Severin.
I'm going to burn you to ash, then your bastard friend.
Severin gets singed a bit by the burning rays, but his agility saves him from the full force of the spell. The next instant, Daga comes flying into the room, his sword held high. Zantar is overwhelmed. He falls to the ground, blood flowing from his wounds. His orb rolls across the marble floor, passing by scorch marks and the roasted body of his pet Slod.
Look what you did.
Daga holds up the blackened body of the pollywog.
You know what? All this fighting has made me hungry, and this smells quite good.
No.
Zantar's voice comes falteringly.
Listen, I'll give you whatever you want.
Severin replies,
Well, you see, we already have what we want.
but then he looks around for the letters he had just been holding before the fight broke out. He sees only a few scraps of burnt parchment on the ground. Zantar laughs.
The letters!
Do you mean these letters? Jorn comes out from his hiding place under the desk, holding the 4 letters of transit in hand.
Yes,
Those would be the ones.
good eye, Jorn. Of course, you wouldn't know anything about good eyes, would you, Zantard?
Daga crouches down close to the wizard and takes a big bite out of the tadpole's crispy flesh. Severin grabs the wizard by his dreadlocks. Don't worry, I'll let you keep your eye.
You will?
A slight hope crosses Zantar's face.
I will.
At that, Severin takes his dagger and stabs it through Zantar's empty left socket. He gasps terribly, then goes limp. Horrible, all of this. Jorn shakes his head. And it's a shame we're leaving Rorik's private rooms in such a mess. Give him my deepest appreciation, John. Someday I hope to give him true thanks of my own. For now, I think it best we leave. It would be best. Your ship sails at daybreak. Early the following morning, as the sun paints gold upon the ocean, an Aldarian galley sets sail for the mainland. Aboard are 4 passengers seeking a new life. A young man, his sad-eyed mother and eccentric brother, and a half-orc whose belches smell like nothing from this world. Hello, my fellow adventurer. Esper here. I hope you enjoyed Scoundrels After Sundown as much as I enjoyed creating it. I also want to give a very special thank you once again to my Patreon supporter, Dennis Cropper, for giving me the fantastic character concept of Severin. I also want to invite you to stop by and join my Patreon page, especially if you like the idea of your concept being brought to life. I'm talking your character, your map, your adventure. So go take a look. I have different options and different reward levels. It would mean the world to me, and it's going to give me the opportunity to create this type of content and even more. So thanks again, and may your adventures be many, my friend.